Hi folks, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to talk about a flagship transportable DAC/headphone amplifier combo of FiiO that shares a lot of DNA with the flagship M17 DAP. So in many ways this is the M17 without the player section, and the best part about it is that instead of $1799 it goes for $749, which makes it the most powerful but also the most feature-rich DAC amp combo at this price point. At first glance, Q7 has absolutely the same case and build quality of the M17, which is great news because this one was built like a tank. You are getting a massive case and a hefty weight of 620 grams, making it more like a transportable unit than like a portable unit. This is a beastie DAC amp combo, but that was made on purpose, as it can drive pretty much everything, including desktop headphones like these right here. Just below its RGB lights, a few air vents are located that will move hot air outside its case. Luckily, it doesn't get as hot as M17 after engaging the last gain setting. Q7 got only moderately warm, and personally I never used its cooling stand. Taking a glance on its back, it seems that FiiO replaced that tempered glass on M17 with this rubbery texture, which offers a much better grip when holding it, and the same can be said about its case, which is no longer slippery. Q7 doesn't have as many buttons as M17 does, making it much easier to operate single-handedly. You have just on-off, previews, play, pause, and next buttons, all placed on the right side. On top you'll find a massive metallic volume knob, which offers a decent physical resistance, which I personally like, and 4 headphone jacks coming in single-ended and balanced flavors. On its bottom you'll find 3 digital inputs like USB Type-C, optical and coaxial, including 2 switches that lets you choose a battery mode or DC power mode operation, and another switch for USB charging as on or off, so it won't drain the battery of your smartphone in case you want that. As for tech inside it, FiiO stripped away its digital audio player section, so it no longer has a big display, an Android operating system, a powerful CPU, RAM and ROM memory, and there is no longer a microSD card slot. Apart from this, Q7 is pretty much an M17 with the exception that it has a single ES9038 Pro DAC chip instead of 2 found on M17. As I have explained in my M17 video, FiiO made custom headphone amplifier modules together with THX engineers, calling them THX AAA789 Plus, offering up to 1.5 watts per channel on its balanced headphone jacks in battery mode and some crazy 3 watts per channel in DC power mode. So this is not only the biggest DAC amp combo out there, but also the most powerful one. An MQA decoder is also on board, including a flagship Bluetooth chipset of Qualcomm that supports all the latest codecs as LDAC and aptX adaptive. Everything else you can find on FiiO's website, and let's check how it actually performs. Sound-wise, I believe that in the wrong hands, ESS Sabre Silicon and THX AAA amplifier modules can sound clinical, can sound boring, can even sound bright sounding, and I've tried, even from the house of FiiO, there are several devices that were not so impressive. However, if you look at FiiO, they have a ton of experience with THX amplifier modules. I believe that the very first digital audio player worldwide that used such amplifier modules was that X7 Mark II, which had those small modules. And of course, ESS Sabre Silicon is everywhere, and FiiO works with them for more than 10 years. So clearly they have plenty of experience with THX amplifier modules, with ESS Sabre Silicon. They already know all their limitations because clearly they have such things. And I'm telling you that because this one is extremely detailed, it's very clean, it's very transparent, but at the same time I don't find it flat, dead flat, boring, uninteresting. No, it's not that. On the contrary, this one is actually very fun, very engaging sounding, and I do believe that its tonality, fun and engaging, somehow saved this one from boring them, because this one is not a boring sounding unit. The second thing that will hit you is power output, because there's a reason I put the Headphone Amp on this table, because it won't drive only your IEMs portable headphones, but also your desktop headphones, especially in that DC power mode, unlocking that fifth ultra high gain settings, I believe is called. It was driving my entire headphone collection, no problem, and I'll be telling you a lot more about that in a minute, but even right now I can tell you that it has all the power that you can desire and all the headroom, even with Headphone Amp and even with Abyss AB1266. So this is a very, very powerful portable, transportable DAC amp combo. The third thing that will impress you right away is transparency and detail retrieval, because clearly this is a very, very clean sounding one. If I would compare it, I can actually compare it only with M17. Everything else feels a little muddy by comparison, not that resolving. It just elevates all those micro details, small nuances to the surface so easily. It's like a child's play. Thirdly, you'll observe that it has those crazy dynamics. It's very impactful, it's very fast sounding. And I believe that those crazy dynamics actually saved this one from a dead flat or uninteresting type of sound like the Q5 TC has in some way or another. So this one is considerably more punchy sounding in the mid bass, in the bass. It's just more energetic sounding everywhere, not only in the bass, including in the mid-range and treble. It's somehow overly excited sounding in a way. Lastly, if I would close my eyes and if you would connect me Q7, especially via that DC power mode or via its ultra high gain settings, and put some desktop headphones, even Headphone Amp, I would never guess that I'm listening to a battery operated device or transportable DAC amp combo, because it sounds a lot more like a desktop DAC connected to a desktop headphone amplifier section. Everything just pours easily. There is effortless feeling. The air is not being limited in any way. The soundstage is very, very real, very easy to to follow the trail of a musical instrument. It has just a perfect decay, not too fast, not too slow, just right. The vibration of strings is very natural in a way. It's not overly warm. It's not warm at all. Actually, it's not dense sounding, it's not full-bodied, but it has a good neutrality because it's fun and engaging. And if there is a definition of good neutrality, that would be the sound of Q7. And the highest praise I can give is that it easily outplayed every single DAC amp combo that I have tried up to this day. I'll be trying a Shining H7 in about a month that has pretty much the same price point and a little less power output, so that would be a really great comparison to make. So look forward to that video in about a month. But until that happens, Q7 just reigns supreme as pretty much the best DAC amp combo that money could buy. I'll briefly talk about its noise floor because I believe it was improved versus a much pricier M17. We have less electronics, we don't have an Android operating system, we don't have a big display, a powerful CPU, RAM, ROM memory, and of course the signal path is shorter, less electronics, emitting less noise. And what was a noise floor of 7 microvolts went much lower to 4.5 microvolts on Q7. So I don't want this to be a super technical review, but in much simple terms, it means that you can use its low, mid, and high gain settings with ultra sensitive IEMs, something that you can do on M17 only on the low and mid gain setting. High gain was noisier on M17, and of course super high and ultra high were much noisier. This one was also a little noisy with ultra high and super high gain settings, but of course those two positions were made only for desktop headphones, and of course with desktop headphones it was pretty much dead silent. I couldn't hear anything really playing in the background except for my music. When it comes to power, this thing is crazy, it's nuts, as it provides 1.5 watts of power via its internal batteries and 3 watts of power when used with that external power brick. As a small comparison, their best of the best K9 Pro desktop DAC amp combo provides 2 watts of power, and this one provides 3 watts of power. It's almost unbelievable, but that is true because this one will easily drive, your entire headphone collection. And if your sole goal is to drive, everything, starting with IEMs, portable headphones, and desktop headphones, then this is a very easy recommendation to make and one of the biggest selling points of the Q7. I went ahead and tried all and everything, starting with IEMs, portable headphones, desktop headphones, and when I arrived at the Hifmonsters and those bass notes started rumbling inside my skull, it was clear to me that it will drive pretty much everything with plenty of headroom and power remaining on top. So it was doing that so effortlessly, so easily, like it was its morning routine. And it doesn't really sound like, like a battery-powered device, but more like a desktop-grade DAC amp combo, driving those Hifmonsters close to what I would call as exceptional. I have tried a good chunk of THX AAA amplifiers by now and a good share of ESS-Saber converters coming in portable and desktop form. And I don't want to sound over-enthusiastic about it, but usually portable devices that have such silicon and amplifier modules cannot push a lot of air, cannot sound 3D holographic outside your head, with the exception of Q7. And I'm not really sure what's at play. It seems that, again, FiiO's secret sauce is somehow putting more air in between the notes. Everything sounds so airy, so easy, so it just never limits the air trouble. I was listening to a track by Mary Boyne. Please check below, I'll be putting a link. And I stopped from whatever I was doing because there was a massive white space in between her voice, big drums, bass guitar, and just percussion work. Just big pauses, and then suddenly some massive spikes in terms of dynamics that added so much air in between the notes, even with closed back headphones, like Kenneth and Rogner. So clearly, to me, Q7 was never flat or two-dimensional, more like holographic and completely 3D sounding. Another highlight of the Q7 is that it never stays in the way of the music. It will try to bring all the bad and all the good up front. It will try to show all those small details, small intricacies, be them good or bad. But it does that in a very natural manner without overdoing it too much. So this is not an ultra sharp or just piercing sounding unit or clinical sounding unit. There is nothing like that in here. It's just uber detailed, transparent, very resolving, and I can call it even squeaky clean sounding. And if you like hearing all the things buried deep inside your tunes, then this thing is doing that so easily. After trying tens of portable digital audio players, none of them impressed me as much as FiiO M17 when it comes to cleanness and resolution. And I do feel that FiiO Q7 works pretty much the same path. And if you ever tried a really well-made ESS-Saber converter desktop one like X-Saber Pro by Matrix, or Matrix Element X, or Gustad X26 Pro, and a really well-made THX AAA amplifier like Benchmark HPA4, then you can already imagine how Q7 is sounding. I might be the transient response guy, but I'm equally impressed by an uber detailed presentation, and there's no other way to describe its performance as a whole. As for dynamics, or transients as I like to call them, Q7 will never run out of steam. This was not soft, laid back, relaxed, easygoing, and more like a berserker entering its FiiO state on the battlefield. So if you like your music punchy and super fast, providing those quick shifts in terms of dynamics, going from slow to fast and vice versa, then this thing will do that pretty easily. So this is a dynamic monster, and you can feel that not only with IEMs, but with desktop headphones as well. And if I can hear those bass notes rumbling deep inside my skull with something like Hifmonsters, then I'm pretty sure it will do that with anything out there. Q7 already sounded amazing on its own, but if you want to make it slightly more dynamic, slightly more impactful, but also more natural and more relaxed sounding in the treble, then I do recommend getting that FiiO PL50 external linear and regulated power supply, which made it so much more interesting. Moving on to frequency response, Q7 will feel like a perfect candidate for bass-intensive music, just providing you clean, fast, and impactful bass notes. And while it will provide all the quantity that you can possibly desire, I believe that the biggest standout was quality, getting those layers and sub-layers so defined and clean. And if you have bass light IEMs or bass light desktop headphones, then it will feel like a cure, adding so much more oomph and energy in the sub-bass. And that was actually the case with the 7Hz Timeless and with Meze 109 Pro. I'm not really sure how FiiO fought back the lean nature of ESS Sabre Silicon and THX AAA amplifier modules, but clearly they added some life where there should be none in the mid-range department. So I want to be clear that this is not a creamy or warm or full-bodied sounding unit, but it's mostly linear, but it offers a good linearity. It doesn't punish you for listening to less than perfect recordings, and it will not scream with treble intensive tracks. And while I wasn't really overflown with emotions when I was listening to some instrumental music, but at the same time I didn't feel the dread of listening to a clinical sounding unit. Its treble performance can be described as extended past top octave. That's sparkly, that's a little sharp, but it's not going into that bright territory. It can get a little hot sounding with a few IEMs and with a few desktop headphones, but if you want to slightly roll off that upper treble and add some naturalness and some warmth, then I do wholeheartedly recommend that FiiO PL50 external power supply. From ultra-linear, Q7 became warmer, denser, and meatier sounding, especially in the mid-range and bass, while slashing remaining traces of glare and listening fatigue. I also compared it with their flagship M17 digital audio player, and if you want to know my honest opinion, then these two are more alike than different. If you are casually listening to music or just doing multitasking while listening to music, then the difference is so small, it's just I cannot spot it. In a blind test, I cannot pick which is which. But when I'm attaching the HiFi Susvara and I'm listening to some reference recordings, then there is a small difference. And by that I mean that M17 is slightly clearer and is slightly deeper sounding. On the other hand, this one has a lower noise floor, and ultra-sensitive IEMs worked slightly better with this one on low, mid and high gain. With this one worked only on low and mid gain. So again, the difference is very small, like 1-2%, something like that. Slightly clearer, slightly deeper sounding, lower noise floor. However, there is one massive difference between the two, and that is price point, because this one goes by $1,050 cheaper, making it a whole lot more desirable. Wrapping things up, if you can get past its colossal proportions, its heavy-duty case, then you are getting an ultra-linear and ultra-detailed sound that is both technical but also fun sounding. It got gaps of power and it will drive pretty much everything, and if you ever dreamt about a more affordable M17 digital audio player that is better at noise rejection with IEMs, then Q7 goes with a similar tuning at a much more affordable price point. Usually I'm complaining about a thing or two with portable devices, but that is not really the case, and for all of the reasons combined, I do believe that Q7 fully deserved my absolute highest gold award. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed my review. My full in-depth review can be found below. Please check that out. And as usual, listen to my tunes, be positive, and I'll see you soon. Cheers!